this really weird thing that happens as we're growing up that defines and shapes who it is we are, how we're showing up in the world, and what it is we perceive that's happening around us. This is something that either inhibits us or it contributes to us stepping up and becoming a greater version of who we were sent here to become. Either way, we all kind of struggle and battle with both of these Jekyll and Hyde type energies in our life. And I wanted to bring focus, bring awareness towards that conversation today, because maybe it's something you're dealing with. Or if it isn't, it's definitely something you have dealt with or something you will deal with in the future, because it's only natural. We're all on our journeys, we're all experiencing this life to the capacity we are, to the story, to our unique being, and I really wanted to chat with you about this very common, limitation that's placed on us from a young age, because maybe this conversation is what's going to empower you to letting go of it, or at least starting to let go of it. One of my favorite books is The 4 Agreements, and it's an absolutely incredible book. If you have read it, amazing. If you haven't, go pick it up. It's truly a game changer. I read it on my honeymoon about 4 months ago for the first time, and I've literally listened to the audiobook another 3 times. I've read it another time. It is, to me, the Bible and the way that I can start perceiving the world in a very valuable and affirmative way of understanding just what's happening, how people are showing up, and how we're domesticated through our life. And that's the conversation that I wanted to get started with when we're talking about this limitation that's been placed on us, is this idea and this truth that we are domesticated as we grow up. We are taught from a young age what's a good behavior, what's a bad behavior, and we are given attention in accordance to that. We always want to please. We grow up with this idea that if we do this a certain way, we'll get positive attention for it. So we start manipulating and shaping our personalities to what is accepted rather than what we know is going to get us in trouble or rejected. And that process is something in the 4 Agreements that's called domestication. Just like we domesticate animals, we domesticate dogs in our life to be able to, be not barking at every single person or not peeing everywhere or not pooping everywhere. It's not, in terms of dogs and things like that, it's not necessarily a negative thing, it's just teaching it the behaviors, teaching it what's acceptable, and people go through that same experience. We go through that same experience. We start hiding these unique gifts, these unique talents, because they make us different than what the idea of perfect is, what the idea of perfect to our family is, what the idea of perfect to society is, to our friends in our classroom. We want to be something that blends in, something that makes us feel accepted and normal. But what we don't realize is through this idea of trying to please everyone around us, be accepted, we're losing valuable pieces of who it is we were sent here to become. We start unidentifying ourselves as perfect human beings, and we start identifying ourselves as something as different from perfection, striving for perfection. And that's what we're going to talk about. That is what this conversation is about, is that you are perfect, but all of these different things along the way try and mold and shape you into believing that you aren't. Believing that you need to be this, you need to look this certain way, you need to go to college, you need to have this certain job in order to be accepted and in order to be perfect. The idea of perfection is something that's, number one, ridiculous, but at the same time, you already are perfection. Just the fact that we draw breath in our every single day, this body we have is, someone did, I think, a study on it, Jake was sharing with me, that if they broke down the human body, they broke it into how much it would cost. I think it was something like $60 million, which is hilarious because the body's priceless. But you literally are a body of just absolute perfection. Harmony, grace, goodness, and we get steered away from that because we're taught we need to fit in, we need to do this, we need to be accepted this way. And that's the number one thing we need to let go of, is this idea of perfection and acknowledging that we were just, us being in our bodies is perfection. Our unique attributes, we need to start uncovering them. We need to start listening to what lights us up rather than what's gonna get us, a smile or a good conversation or a pat on the back. What makes you feel good? If it's not in alignment with what you were taught should make you feel good, that's okay. That's something that is scary, but it shouldn't be scary because you need to be exactly who you're supposed to be in this life. You need to be that human being because nobody else can be that. It's scary to go after, you know, being different or going after this dream that may not be accepted by our friends or by our parents, but we need to acknowledge that that's not how it's supposed to be. We're each unique extensions of the universe. We each have unique gifts, unique talents, and other people limiting that within us, limiting our belief in us being able to go after that dream, to become that person, is just a projection of this idea of perfection, this idea of people pleasing. What pleases you? What lights you up? I know that when I started on my art adventure, I was 10 years old and my parents, I was very blessed, and they put me in an oil painting training. I was in this training for years and I was painting all of the greats. And my mom picked me up from my class that I take. I would take it twice a week for like 4 hours and I was painting. And she picked me up and she said, "Hey, like, how did it go?" And I literally remember word verbatim, "Mom, I feel so lucky and I feel so grateful in my life." And she looked at me in the little rear view and she's like, "Well, what do you feel grateful about? You know, that's cool, you're 10. And I said, "I found my passion. I am an artist and that's what I'm supposed to do with my life. And I found it and I'm 10 years old." And it was a really significant moment in my life. I literally remember it word for word. And that's because it was a huge knowing, a huge mirror in my body that showed me that that's what my purpose was. But as I grew up, as I became domesticated, and you know, God love our parents, they want us to seek an education, they want us to do these things that are supposed to enhance our life. But in truth, what enhances our life is what lights us up. I was always taught that making money as an artist is really challenging, that nobody does it except Van Gogh, except Monet, except, you know, all of these different incredible artists that are making millions of dollars. There's a huge difference, there's a huge gap. There's artists and then there's artists that are actually huge artists. And I always let that define my desire and my ability to make that into my life. It wasn't until this last year that I started understanding that I can shape my reality through my thoughts, and I don't need to adhere to this thing that I've been taught, which is artists don't make any money. I can shift my perspective, I can shift my alignment and create this artist, this career of my dreams. And maybe that's something that's happening in your mind. There's that limitation of what you've been taught by your domestication, by your idea that you need to be perfect in this way, so it's taking you away from what lights you up. You know, this idea that you can't do that because it's a challenging path to go. To be a singer, it's, you know, to be a sports player, it's 1 in a million who becomes a professional sports player. There's all these different statistics that deter us from stepping into what really lights us up, what creativity brings us just this amazing, incredible love for what it is we're doing. And that's this whole conversation. You are perfect. Every single thing that you find the most divine connection, the most divine spirit and inspiration is your voice in the world. And that's something to pay attention to. That's something to begin refining and begin practicing, because regardless of what you've been told, that's your unique gift. And I know you're thinking of your unique gift right now, and I'm letting you know and I'm giving you permission to start inquiring into that. Start practicing that. Start bringing it into your life and start aligning yourself with what inspires you. We're taught over many years that what inspires us isn't going to bring us the money, or we have to go to college and we have to get a degree in it. Whatever it is, whatever we're told, whatever restriction we're placed around our perfection, whatever we're trying to please to get to there or get that white picket fence, we are perfect, and everything we are is a unique extension. We're covered up over many years through trying to be perfect, trying to be pleasing, trying to be accepted. It's time to start asking the question of what inspires you, what lights you up. That's where your life is. It's in that question. It's in that type of energy, drawing that type of consciousness into your awareness. So I just wanted to dedicate this video to talking about that. I hope that it inspired you in some way. It's just a little conversation. I kind of went on a rant for a while, but it's true. You know, you are perfect, and our life is about becoming joy and about being in joy with whatever it is we're doing. If you're not doing something that's bringing you joy, start seeking that type of energy in your life. Start bringing it into your awareness, into your experience in small ways, and maybe it grows into a really big way and turns into this big passion. But whatever it is that's unique to you, is capable and is possible for you to be and become without this idea of I'm not good enough, or you know, do what makes you feel happy. And that's what this was about. I really hope that came across. I shared a little bit of my story in there, which has helped me in so many ways, just overcoming that limiting belief and really acknowledging that that's who I am, and it's okay to be that. I don't need to be accepted, and the truth of who I am is perfect. This desire, this dream, the truth of who you are is perfect. So live in that and live in that space, and I love you. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching my video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, press that bell notification to be notified every single time I post a video. My name is Ashley Ducey with ashleyducey.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.